making these, uh, drawing the sprites for the base. So we're drawing buildings, we're drawing churches, blacksmiths, barracks, fight pits, things like that. And God, yeah, if you're a fan of the stream, you know me, you know this is not my favorite thing to do. Although if history tells us anything, it's that it's probably not going to go too badly, and I'll probably find myself enjoying it by the end, and we'll end up with something okay, you know. Took yesterday off because, and yeah, it's sort of a bit of a late start, a bit of a spotty week altogether this week. Because yeah, I think I might have lined up some other work to help me pay the bills, which is great. Potentially, we'll see how that goes. So I need to go and dig into that. But yeah, I've been given access to a Unity file that I can start like having a look at and saying, right, okay, what's the first job, and then getting paid per job, which would be really, really nice. The other thing is that I've been addicted to Pal World, and it's a funny one because every time I get addicted to a game like this, or like any time I sort of spend too long thinking about it, or too long playing it, I sort of think, am I being lazy? Am I doing something wrong? No, I've got to do this for work, but it just feels so awful to be like, oh yeah, I've got to play games for work. Because if I wait until weekends and like after hours, I'm never going to get a chance to play it. But I like playing games like Pal World. I guess my verdict on it is like I really like it. It's good slop, but it is slop. And it's kind of encouraging to me, like experiencing it firsthand, like what is an unreal survival slop. Because it's like basically the same game every time. It's the same thing, unfortunately, I found with like RuneScape Dragon Wilds, with Valheim, with all of these games. It just ends up being like they're all running on the same rules. Although some seem to have a bit more soul than the others. Like maybe Grounded and Valheim have a bit more soul than the others. But they do all tend to be a bit of a copy-paste, like why are there so many mechanics in Pal World? Like there's so many different ways to upgrade your pals, and there's so many different ways to upgrade yourself, and there's so many recipes to unlock. It's like, why are they all there? It's because it's part of like the Unreal package, I think. Like this game has already been designed and people just keep remaking it. Having said that though, it is like that format is still fun. There's a reason there's so many games that have that Unreal survival slop format, and catching creatures Pokemon style is really fun. And it turns out those two games connect really well together because you've got your base, and so sometimes I'm really scratching that itch of like, I'm playing Pokemon. This is it. This is everything I wanted as a kid, playing Pokemon. I'm going out into the wilds. I'm seeing new creatures, and I'm like, oh, that's a creature I haven't got yet. Let's catch it, and catching it, and kind of going through, and then, oh look, there's a fishing spot with a shiny thing in. Let's go get the shiny one, and oh, there's a cave. Let's go in there, and just living that life, and that's really fun. And then going back to the base and being like, oh yeah, I've got to make this base nice for my creatures and for me. And that works really well, but it is slop, and I'm kind of glad. Like, I remember seeing this. Like, I was talking to someone else about their game, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a survival game, so we're gonna add item degradation. We're gonna add all of these things because they were part of the package. You just go into Unreal, and you're like, oh yeah, let's just add this thing. This is gonna make all inventory. This is gonna make our entire inventory system." And they build the whole game with those things. And then it's like, yeah, but why does your game have... Like, is your game actually benefiting from deteriorating goods? Like, does your game actually benefit from, like, gear going down? And maybe it is. I think maybe for some of these games, just having a lot of systems beats having one really good system. Does that make sense? So, like, because there's item durability and... food decay and all of these things that you have to manage, it's just enough different things that you're doing at any given time. Like, oh, I need to upgrade my character. Should I go grind? Should I go farm these fruits? Should I go pick creatures of the same kind? Like, you've got so many different things to do that it stops you from being able to focus on if any one of those things is actually fun. I find it's the thing with modern television as well. Like, you'll have a TV show, like, I think some do it better than others, but like a couple House of the Dragon episodes felt, I think season 2 just felt like they went nowhere because we were just cutting to so many different characters constantly that I could never really get my teeth into a plot, and it just felt like things were happening rather than a story developing. There's that show Those Who Die, which I really wanted to like, about like, it's basically like Spartacus but for what's it called, the hippodrome, the bit where they race each other. It's like Spartacus but for that, but there's lots going on, and they are telling like 10 different stories, and they never do an episode where it's like, we're just telling this story today. It's always, we're telling 10 different stories today, and you can't really get into any one of them. And I feel like that's kind of what Palworld is like. Like, no one of the actual things you do is particularly fun. So anyway, I'm just kind of ranting to myself now, but that's, I think that was always my destiny. But yeah, I think anyone who knows me as a kid would be like, it's describing things to a YouTube audience of 0, about some show and about games. Yeah, okay, yeah, that tracks. That sounds about right. Okay, so I want a castle. Let's start with the hardest one. And I guess for reference, I want to see the other castle that I did, because it should look it should basically be that castle but at a different resolution. So we go back to sprites, map, bases. It should be there. So we're saying this is like the outer walls of the castle town. I mean, we're not thinking too deeply about it, as long as it makes some sense. But I'm just going to look at like pixel art medieval castle and just see what we find. And essentially like putting together like, what is a castle? So one thing about a castle is it tends to be taller than it is wide, at least in these images. So again, I'm just looking, Google Images, first stop, because I just need to, because I don't have an artist's head. I don't have like a photographic memory of things in my head. I kind of have a dreamlike, vague understanding, but I don't actually know what a castle is. Like I can look at these different castles, but what are the things that keep a castle together? I mean, we can kind of use this same thing. Like we've already, one thing to consider is we've already done the walls. The walls we're thinking of as outside the castle, although not necessarily. But there is a, so like you could have a castle with walls and a gate and everything like that, but then also you've got an outer wall with the other stuff in the town. So I think that's how we're going to do that. So it doesn't matter that we have these walls again. But if I could just, yeah, like we need towers and bits. I need to think about the resolution as well. Like, so that was a big question. So for reference, what I do is I take something that we know is in the game, which is a character, and put it here at the same scale as the other things. And yeah, that should match. Those squares are about the same, a little bit less so because the character's in the foreground, but that is the same scale. And we say, does that work? Does that look good? Kind of. We're sort of supposed to be up closer now, but a character doesn't look that good here. And if we were to actually have a character in this scene, which I kind of would like to, we would sort of expect it like to be like that big, hopping around, you know. And I kind of do want that. I kind of do want little characters hopping around. But if we go with this resolution, so yeah, I mean, just to demonstrate. So if it was like that, and so if this is 2, let's say, and therefore this tree, which is 128 by 128, would need to also be 2. So in order to reach the full size, it would need to be like double 128 or even triple. So it would actually have to be, let's see, what's 1, 2, 1, so like 3, like 400, like let's say 412 by 412. It would have to be about that. And at that resolution, I'm basically like, it's not, to me, it's not pixel art anymore. Like, that is a level of resolution that's a bit too high for me. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I mean, I'm not going to be able to make that look good. There's no way I'm going to be able to make that look good. Anyway, back to where we were. So, a castle is essentially a series of towers with a gate and some windows. And towers, yeah, they have to have those towery bits. Did I lose? So that they, so that the rain doesn't get inside. And actually, like, I've done this kind of rampart, like, outside of the tower. I'm just thinking, like, that's going to get filled up with rainwater. And then I guess it would just come off, roll off the sides. Or would it go in through this tower, through the whole building? So you absolutely need to have, like, rain coverage. So we look at this one, for example. And I think... Or do you just accept the rain? Like, maybe there aren't actually any rooms under here. It's just a spiral staircase. So the rain falling through the cracks doesn't really matter. So anyway, maybe I'm overthinking this. Like, my first step as a logical thinker, not an visual thinker, is to understand the thing that I'm drawing, rather than just drawing something that looks cool. But yeah, it's turrets and towers. And it sort of ought to look a bit like that. So if we just went with, like, let's go with gate, and oh god, at this resolution. So no, so we were looking at 412 by 412, right? I kind of opted just to go with the scale of a tree because this is, I feel like this is the level of detail that we need. And then if we were to do dudes jumping around, they would either just be at a lower resolution, or I can just kind of redraw them at a lower resolution. Of course, that's kind of mental for all the characters. But if we just made it like a generic villager that's not a soldier, I don't know. I don't know if we can get away with that. I kind of feel like drawing a castle at 412 by 412 is just not really within my skill set. But if I take this tree, which is 128, I think I can do that. So that's my first, like, decision I have to make, and I have to just kind of explore the positives and benefits of doing that, because yeah, it will mean that if I want my little dudes bouncing around, they're going to appear to be at a lower resolution, which is generally considered bad form. But is this the correct resolution for what I'm trying to do? And I kind of have to say, like, yeah, like, this is about right, and this is about where my skill set is. Like, I could say, yeah, sure, I'll draw one at 412, but it's not going to be very good. It's not going to be very good if I do it like that. So if I do... So let's try and draw the castle at this resolution. See, this is already, like, feels like a lot to me. Like, there's too much detail that I'm just going to kind of not... I like the fact that... see, I hate this. It just kind of stays in alpha. Until I pick a color, I can pick a color and then make it darker. But yeah, it just stays in alpha, which is really annoying. Anyway, so if we're essentially going to want to just kind of copy what we have here and make it bigger. But there's certain things about perspective as well. And of course, it's not going to be quite like... it's not going to be quite to scale with the humans walking around. So let's see. So let's do a And then, yeah, we would actually have some kind of depth to the wall. So rather than being a straight line, we have it curved because we're doing... what program... are you a bot, Leo? Because you talk a lot like a bot, but that seems like a genuine question. Is that... But that seems like... I don't know if that's what a bot would say to try and sound human, or whether that's what a human would say to try and sound like a bot. Albuquerque, New Mexico. But I'm glad you're also a viewer of Kit Boga. I like Kit Boga. And I liked that video a lot. I think it was one of the good ones. One of the really good ones. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Why did D make that happen? Anyway, so like, do we want this forced? So do we want this curve at the bottom? I think we do. Like, if we were looking at, but then the door itself is not circular, so like, or it's not curved, so it would be more like this. And I don't know what we're doing about like the pixels immediately in front and behind. Okay, I'm gonna say you're not a bot, which is fun because I put you on timeout the other day. Maybe you just have like ADHD or something. I mean, that's fine. I think I do too. I'm not saying that's even a bad thing. I'm just trying to figure you out. Because like, if you have a genuine question, I'm happy to answer it. If you just want to like say random shit, I'm with you on that one. I like saying random shit too. Okay, and then we would have... So, like, what am I doing here? It looks like I'm spending a lot of pixels just doing the door, which seems wrong. I mean, if a tree is like that, so actually the door would be more like this kind of width. And then I don't know if I can do. Oh, what's that? Why did that not do? It was 2 a.m. when you were saying that's it. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me as a sentence in its own kind of right. So I'm going back to like thinking you might actually be a bot. Now here I am handcrafting these pixels and not even doing it very well. But let's say that's about the scale for our door. So not these bits. And then like, what else can we see about this? So I'm just being self-referential here. Yeah, you'd have two little towers kind of before the slope happens. So if we just got rid of these and kind of tried to consider that as equidistant voice lines. What's that's it? Who says that's it? What's that a voice line from? I know Albuquerque, New Mexico. I know that one. I know this is like slow going, but I think once we've got it, we've got it. So while it feels like I'm spending ages on these little random pixels here, because I am spending ages on them, there is a purpose to this. I mean, I'm quite happy. Like, I still think what you're saying is random. Are orientation games? Like, I don't know what you're on about there. But to be perfectly honest, like having people talking in the chat helps us out in the algorithm, so I'm not going to stop you. If you want to get your random words out there, don't let me stop you. So yeah, and I need to use the mirror tool, but I just want to get a sense of like what this is going to look like. So we've got this big old door. Like, does it make sense that the door is wider than the turrets? Is that weird? So again, I'll look at my references and just see if that's ever the case. Yes. About the same. Wider than some of the turrets. Yeah, I mean, that's about the same. So this kind of makes sense as a door structure, doesn't it? So we have the, and I think this can actually come down. And these would be a bit higher. So how much higher than the door would they be? About twice as high as the door. Yeah, about twice as high as the door itself. So about there, I would think. And maybe they need to be wider. Maybe the whole thing needs to come in a bit. So like actually these would be a bit closer. The other thing I'm thinking of is a little bit of perspective. Like if you're standing here, it is going to look like that bit is taking up the whole building. So it would make sense that this is actually the biggest feature. Like this actually isn't that much bigger than that. We're just going to have to like draw that, but I guess with like a taller tower. Let's see how we get on, because I think essentially we're drawing the same thing again. We've got, and I'm just doing a rough by hand by now. For now, we might want to redo this. Okay, so let's make this into like a tower. So how do we do that? Do we go one step out? Do we go 2 steps out? I think 2 steps out makes sense. And I think actually corner inclusive for this kind of thing. Yeah, corner inclusive. I think even actually like, yeah. Except, so it's going to be weird, that like perspective thing, because I feel like we want to be standing at it, which means that this would be flat and we would just see mostly door. But at the same time, you do kind of want to see the castle itself. So let's... Okay, so that one's actually wider. I didn't notice that. Yeah, of course it is. Okay, and then we would... So this is basically the same resolution. And I kind of like... I do kind of like them to be a bit wider. So actually this should be wider. And then will we actually have like a curve to that as well? Do we have our? I think I'll just do random colors for now, and we can make the colors match more perfectly later down the line. This is fairly un-grey castle, fairly light castle. And I just want to start. For God's sake, I can't just grab a color. It's so annoying that you'd think like within the application, I should be able to go to that other. Morning, Jack. Thanks for joining. To go to this other folder in the same project and just grab a color. And also, it seems like I swear. Color. Do. Okay, good. Okay, and then if this, so it would actually look more like this. With maybe our darker version in there, so you can actually see. No, that doesn't look good. Again, looking at my references for a better idea of how these towers look. Like, I'm sort of drawing it from this angle because that's the angle I've been used to, but actually we kind of want to draw it from the ground. We're on the ground in this scene, looking directly at the thing. Meaning, like, the gate itself would be the most imposing large thing. I don't know. Let's see how we get on. So this, I kind of just want to copy this. Let's start. Well, let's finish the gatehouse kind of thing. So in some of these, there's an actual tower like on top of the gate, which I think is quite cool. And yeah, if we've got our dark color, would that just go there? Or would we actually separate? That's the thing I'm thinking of, right? Like, I kind of want to put a black line here. And then I can put one of these under it, and then it sort of starts to look better. Maybe. I didn't have a black line there. But the thing is, if we're looking at it from below, you would never really see a black line there. Maybe you would. But then maybe we don't need to worry too much about that kind of seeing it from below. We just want it to look like a castle. So there's going to be a fair bit of experimentation here, and I'm going to have a much better idea of everything once I've like done a couple of these buildings. So that's why I'm just going to kind of get it done and not worry about it too much. Let's get any brown just to do that, and let's finish this gatehouse. So what we might be looking at is just a simple, just copying what we had before with a dash of overthink. And then paste that, color that in, and then do. And so this is like a wall, and you could imagine there's like a little door that they can walk to and from. And I guess if we're saying like all of these bits have like a double shaded back, but with that, this shape happening, and hopefully I can get, yeah, that should be symmetrical. I mean, nothing crazy. I think at this scale, we might actually want to see the brick pattern. Maybe not. No, that's ridiculous. Those would be massive bricks. So actually, I feel quite comfortable with this resolution. And what's this? This is 76. So it's not that much of a difference in scale. So I really might be better off. Like, actually, let's go up to 412 then. Rec room. The average time to make one game for me has been about a year, I guess, on average, because I've spent 2 years on some games, and my most successful game took me 2 or 3 months to make, which is hilarious. That's on sale at the moment. for the Steam. It's basically tailor made for the game. It's the Social Deduction Fest. So Interrogation Simulator is up for that. Okay. So there's our gatehouse, and if we just stick with what we have here, we've got like a few windows in the gatehouse. I'm trying to see examples of that. I'm kind of not really seeing it. But again, like it's so funny. Like you notice these things, and certainly as an artist, I'm very like I try to use my logical brain. But like for example, I was watching Dr. Stone, which tends to be a really sort of well researched and certainly very well drawn. Yeah, well, an LUA game is not much good to anyone. And there was a bit where like a ship docked, and it's supposed to be like a modern ship, and it's like how did it dock? It just kind of put the ramp just went down to the pier. Like the boat showed up, ramp went down to pier, and I'm like, hold on, don't they have to tie it to the dock? Especially after watching like Below Deck and stuff, it's like, hold on, that seems like a lapse in detail. And it's funny because I think these lapses in details are everywhere. But for me, I think that's where things get interesting, right? Okay, I think we do want 412. So we are going to start this again in 412 because I think this is just too low resolution, maybe, or maybe this is about the level of detail in the game. I don't know. Yeah, an LUA shouldn't take much time at all to make, but you're kind of going to end up with like unplayable slop then. I mean, maybe not, but and it's a funny one because people look at LUAs as like this game. I remember I worked at a company very briefly, like a couple weeks, and they had an LUA. So they had like a sort of working version, very simple version of the game that had its issues, some pretty major issues, but they were like, oh wow, if we could just get rid of these issues, we're 99% there. But I'm going to do that same speech I have about AI, where it's like 99% there is less than halfway, or is about halfway. 90% there is halfway, if that. Just because that last 10% is difficult to achieve optimization and things like that. Yeah, I think I'm really torn on this resolution thing. So just as an experiment, what would happen if I started drawing this at the higher resolution? Because I think this is far too high. I could split the difference. I could say let's aim for 200. Because what is this? This is 128. 128 seems right. And if it is just the same, basically the same sprite again, but like, because this is only, so this is like, hello, can I select anything? Yeah, this is 8 wide, and this is 9 wide. So it's only 1 pixel wider. Which seems a bit pointless, doesn't it? Like I might as well just draw the same thing again. I mean, it will look fine at that scale. It is on the same scale with the tree. Maybe it's that it should be a bit more like... So I don't think I'm going to lose much if I get rid of this. Like I know it feels crap to throw away work that you've done, but this has all just been to get that sense anyway. But what if we said no. The tower, like the door. So if this is 10 wide, that can't be right. Yeah, if the door here is 10 wide, we want our door to be I'd say 20 wide at least. I mean, I feel like that's actually the shape. So let's go with like 4 times as much. So our door should be 40 with the big towers like that, and like we're sort of doing that like forced perspective from the ground. So here is from above, here's from the ground. You're mainly just seeing the gate with like the tower in the background. So we'll kind of do gate should take up this much space with like big so we're basically drawing this. We really are just drawing the same thing but bigger. But I think that's okay in this instance. Obviously, everything else is going to be drawn from scratch. But just getting, I guess this is why this was a good one to start with. So we say that's our width. And we've got like the walls creeping off into the background at about that width. So yeah, if you're not a very good artistic thinker, at least be a logical thinker. Roblox annoys the shit out of me, so I don't play Roblox. I've got zero interest in it. It annoys me because Roblox is like deeply, because Roblox is the first instance of me definitely being old and definitely not being the target audience and not getting it and being an unk, basically. Because I look at Roblox and I'm like, this is an abomination, which is probably how every old person has looked at every new video game since the dawn of time. This is an abomination. What the hell is this? Go away. I hate the fact that I'm learning to make games in Unity and I've done pretty well. And I've had people pop into this chat and other places to come and say, oh, well, I tried making indie games too, but then I started making Roblox games and I started like basically making a decent career, like making a decent living out of making Roblox games. Which also just boils my blood. It horrifies me. Because I'm like, what is the point in any of this then? And I guess it's like you get older, you get set in your ways, and I am set in my ways, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting involved in that shit. I'm not getting involved in that shit. I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna carry on doing my thing. And when all the devs have gone over to Roblox, I'll be a unicorn, and I'll make millions because people will be like, oh, someone's still making non-Roblox games. They'll come. I mean, you could say this about Minecraft, I guess, but I reckon there will come a point where people won't see like the Roblox art style. I don't think is quite as timeless as Minecraft. I don't know. I guess it's like Lego, right? Like you would say, oh, people get bored of Lego eventually. I don't think they do. Yeah, right? Well, but that's the thing. And I remember it was like as a teenager, if you had that artist who, like, that's why Nirvana did really well in the 90s. I mean, we can't all be Nirvana, but like, we had just come off the back of like so much synth stuff from the 80s because everyone was so impressed with their new machines. And then Nirvana came out and it was just like acoustic shit with some guy shouting. Yeah, bring that back. And Oasis. So the 90s were huge for Nirvana and Oasis. And there was this wave of acoustic music. Acoustic just basically means sound. Like, it just has to do with sound. So of course music is acoustic. Like, what the hell else would music be if not acoustic, you know? Okay, let's get the edges of the door. So if we said the door... Is it going to be 80? I mean, yeah, I guess the door would be, like, massive. The door would be, like, the main thing, but then maybe the turret should also be bigger. So we're actually going from... And is this the 412 one? No, it's still in the 128 one. But we're, like, in the other one, we're, like, not using the space that we have. Whereas this really should be the bottom of the door. Anyway, so I'm really going with... That's not 80. That's not 100 pixels. That's not 79 pixels, is it? That's impossible. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's... Okay, yeah, so the selection I have... Okay, so this is 40, so this is 30. And this goes from 8 to 16. Okay, yeah, let's actually double it. Yeah, see, I get the Roblox thing, so I'm glad you're here. You can tell me things that like, maybe I'm doing wrong, but yeah, I get what Roblox is. It's basically like it really truly is the Lego of games. And yeah, moderation. Like I know, and yeah, there's all sorts of problems with like kids on Roblox and stuff like that. And as you'd imagine in a kind of real world sort of Lego type situation. Okay, there's 64 and 65, just getting the middle. And yeah, like I feel like I'm missing a trick by not making Roblox games because like while I'm here toiling away, but like kids play Roblox. What puts me off about Roblox? Well, when I was young, Final Fantasy VII was amazing. And I'm not talking about the gameplay. I'm talking about the visuals. When I was young, Final Fantasy VII came out and it was absolutely insane. Those cutscenes were like, oh my god. And when people talk about Final Fantasy now, they don't talk about like the graphics, but that was actually the big draw for us. So the point is like my generation, we cared about graphics, just like a sort of someone who was young in the 80s cared about nice synths and things like that. Whereas a 90s kid was like, I just care about the soul of the artist, you know. But yeah, so like to me, Roblox is I'll deal with the shape of this door later. To me, Roblox is horrible looking. I don't want to make a game on Roblox. That looks crap. But if you just kind of come into Roblox and that's what you're used to, that doesn't really matter, does it? The gameplay matters. But to me, like Roblox is still just too disgusting. Like I don't want to make a Roblox game. That looks horrible. Well, I wouldn't want to make a film out of Lego pieces. But then, funnily enough, people are making films about Lego pieces. And not just about Lego. People are intentionally watching the Avengers Lego version. Yeah, when GTA 3 came out, we were like, oh my fucking god, a 3D game. And the car looks like an actual car. Duke Nukem, yeah, it was like, what, that actually... And then so when, like, Doom 3 came out, which is a game that everyone has forgotten about, it was like, what is this? It's Doom, but with 3D. And we were so wowed by just how good the game looked, that we wouldn't dream of playing a game that didn't look like that. But we've kind of come full circle. I think we've come full circle. We now. So yeah, I guess that this would take up like half the screen. So maybe this could be a bit lower. I don't know. Maybe this and the door could be a bit lower. Yeah, the original door was a bit wider than that, and then so we've got plenty of space to kind of, but like really, what you see as a player looking up at a castle is doors. You don't see a big castle. It's like think of Buckingham Palace, right? It's a gate. Sorry, it's because I used to live in London. Buckingham Palace is just a gate. There's nothing on the other side unless you can go in. Yeah, no, no, I haven't seen your showcase games. Yeah, like playing multiplayer as well. Like, like, I think my generation. So I'm about like 40. I think it's like when I was young, I dreamed of online games that actually worked. So, and the only way to get that back in the day on like British internet was to like basically have a LAN party. And my school, different schools were different, but at my school in London, if I went into class saying, "Hey, who wants to start a LAN party?" Crickets. I don't think they would even bully me for it. I think they just wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I was someone who was like, "Hey, who wants to make a kung fu film?" And people got involved. So it's not like people weren't geeky. It's not like people weren't nerdy. It's just, what do you mean you want to make what do you mean you want to do a LAN party? What the hell are you talking about, nerds? Shut up. It's not like people weren't creative or anything. Okay, do I want this shape? Because again, we're looking at it from the bottom. So yeah, no, I think we just have the hard, straight edge as we had in the thingy, as we had in the smaller version. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few Roblox games, and again, it's a style. It's like you look at and shit. Would these need to be double wide now? Yeah, I think they would. Like, it's a style, and there's actually something to it. It's like, so in a funny way, I'm kind of vain because I care too much about graphics, which is not something. I've always been someone who doesn't consider myself, what do you say, vain, or like it's the video game equivalent to shadow, not vain, but shallow. I feel like I'm shallow because I don't want to play Roblox games because they're ugly. But I had no problems with Minecraft, so I don't know. Maybe that's not the point. I guess it's like, why did kids even start playing Roblox? Like, who went into school one day and said to their friends, "Hey, have you played Roblox? You've got to check it out. It's this great game where you play as a fucking Lego." Like, and you do basic shit. Like, how did Roblox, was it TikTok? And just people don't care about word of mouth anymore. They were just like, someone made a video on TikTok of their Roblox and it did really well. So everyone A, wanted to play Roblox, and B, wanted to make a video about Roblox that did really well. And TikTok, unlike YouTube, likes to and I'm not complaining about this. YouTube will meticulously go through every view that you think you achieved and say, no, that one wasn't real. No, that one wasn't real. No, we're ducking that. You'll make a video with like, you know, a couple hundred. In my case, like a few dozen likes, and then you'll look at it again. It'll be like, no, you only got 5 likes. Because it would be like that; those weren't real; those were like bots or something, or like they didn't actually watch the video, so we're not counting that. And we assume that you're going to be botting anyway, so we're just gonna penalize every YouTuber as if they're botting. And then TikTok, on the other hand, is like, hey, your video got loads of views. You should stay on our platform, even though it didn't really. Right? I think that's kind of what happened. Okay, so here, so we just want one every two bits. It reached its peak in 2020. Really? So is it not peaking anymore? I'm curious about that. I'd be very happy to know that it's not peaking anymore, sadly. But yeah, I would be very happy to know that it's not peaking anymore. But it's fun. Like, it's a space where people can like make their own games. I mean, it's what Little Big Planet tried to be and never really. I don't think Little Big Planet ever really achieved that. I don't know why I'm doing each of these manually. I can just copy and paste them along. So I need more Roblox in my life. Work smart, not hard. And then I guess we would have like that. Does that just look like too much like a ladder? But if they're shorter, it just kind of looks wrong. Maybe we do actually need more space for this. So like, it would be about there. Why isn't that? That's because I've actually got all the pixels. So if we just make sure I start there, and start on one of the actual black bits. So that probably would have been quicker for me to just do it manually across. Never mind. I guess I just kind of really want an excuse to not adapt and start making Roblox games, because I don't want to do that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Online Safety Act and everything. So that I think all of that was just for Roblox, basically. They say, oh, it's for Twitter and things. No, it's just for Roblox. But then, of course, the UK government hates Twitter because it keeps like showing them up. It keeps showing that it keeps exposing their lies. So they're like, we hate Twitter. Any excuse to get rid of Twitter. Oh, someone's getting raped on Roblox. Okay, cancel Twitter. I feel like that's the sort of way the UK government operates. Okay, so can we do the same thing here then with the grey? Does that actually look better? Does it give it depth? And then we kind of, and then we can just kind of put in black spots here. We would have kind of wanted a line in the middle. I don't like that. I don't like this lack of symmetry. Yeah, so I kind of want to hate Roblox, and I kind of want it to like not be the status quo. Yeah, so I guess it's losing its status as kind of like you can just hop in and make a game and anyone can play it, and it's like more regulated now. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard the stories, and I've heard it's like a matter of like it's one thing to like not have these protections in place. It's another thing that like when you get like vigilante helpful players come and tell you like, look, we've found this predator, here he is, kind of like Spider-Man, like, look, here's a predator webbed up to a lamppost, and the police just come and just cut them down, you know. Yeah, right. Hello, I'm 8. Where do you live? Is your daddy home? Yeah, like, and then so like we've got like internet vigilantes successfully finding and webbing these people up to lampposts like Spider-Man, and Roblox is like, it's fine. Why did you like stop banning people as stop banning legitimate accounts? Like, that's kind of what I heard Roblox was like. Okay, does this look? I think just the grey line at the bottom here looks good. Ruben and Slep. Yeah, there's. So yeah, it makes sense that like they would have those problems. But then again, is that Roblox? Like, I'm still like if my nemesis in Roblox is defeated because of like something that has nothing to do with the game, I guess I'll take that win, but I don't feel good about it. Is Roblox actually good? And should I be making Roblox games instead? Am I just being an old fool? Like I'm dragging my my horse around to like plow my fields while my neighbor is using a tractor. You know, and I'm like, oh, the horse, I don't want to use a bloody tractor. Tractors aren't as good as horses. This doesn't look good. Maybe we do need this to be black. Yeah, I think it does make it. Even though that's a weird perspective, we're standing here, but we can see the top of that. But I don't think it's quite like that. I think we are kind of floating above here. But yeah, I would love it if Roblox just disappeared. But then would something take its place? Like I could kind of imagine a world where like Minecraft is better, and Minecraft actually like pulls its finger out of its ass and starts to make its modding. I mean, maybe they're already way ahead of me of this. Like, make their modding tools way more comprehensive and easy to understand for a newbie, and eat Roblox's lunch. Basically, I could see that happening. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where like I could spend a month doing Roblox and I wouldn't enjoy it and I'd have a horrible time. But you're right, like I would get to the end of it and say, um, get to the end of it and be like that was a bust, but I'm glad I tried it. Kind of like with my vibe coding, like I probably wasted many hours of my time, but I'm glad I tried it. Okay, so if we're doing perspective, let's do perspective. We need this pattern. I guess I could just draw it again. Just need this, a little bit of ground. Yeah, I'd love to like if you wanted to make a 3D game with beautiful environment and stuff, like I would happily like program that or design it or whatever you wanted to do. I guess it's one of those things like yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to make games. So I would always say like work in 2D where possible, like and just I don't know, people you know that phrase, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. I fucking hate that phrase. Excuse my language, but like I really don't like that phrase, because if you launched a rocket ship and said, let's just, if you were launching a rocket ship, and this is engineering, so it's not far off from game development. I'm like, oh, I want to launch a rocket ship, and I want to land it in space. I'm going to land on fucking Alpha Centauri. So I'm going to build a rocket ship that's going to land on Alpha Centauri, even knowing full well that I'm not going to be able to get to Alpha Centauri. So I'm going to build a gigantic ship with gigantic engine, put loads of fuel into it, and say, right, we're going to Alpha Centauri. And then launched it, thinking, ha, I've launched a ship to Alpha Centauri, I'm going to land on the moon. No, what's going to happen is you're going to fly off into space, shoot way past the moon, use all the resources on Earth, and then you'd be like halfway out of the solar system, let's say, which is, no, you'd be like a 0.001% of the way out of the solar system towards Alpha Centauri, where you'd suddenly realize, I don't have enough resources to finish this trip. And then you would end up on a massive spaceship in the middle of nowhere. And then you just crash and everyone on your ship dies and you just get marooned in space and that's the end of it. Which is what happens to 99% of game studios. Because they all have that philosophy. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. That's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Especially like using the space analogy, because it's like this is by stupid people who like I've been like, I don't know much about space. I know more than I do usually because my son's interested. We've been looking at like moon landings, and I just finished watching Dr. Stone as well. So it's like I feel like I'm kind of brushed up on my moons. It's bloody hard. You can't just be like, oh, let's leave Earth and then let's just see where we land. No, you have to know exactly where you're going. So when people say shoot for the stars, land on the moon, I lose my mind because I'm like, you're a moron. You can't shoot for the stars and land on the moon. You shoot for the moon and you land on the moon. If we're talking like something soft, non-engineering, like what am I thinking of? Like if we're talking about exercise, right? If I set out to do 200 sit-ups, I'm going to achieve 100. And if my goal was to get, if I win by getting 100 sit-ups, then that was a good strategy. If I set out to do 100 sit-ups, I might do 50. If I set up to do 200 sit-ups, I might do 100, right? I get the logic, but it just does not apply anywhere near engineering, anywhere near project management. That's like a personal motivation thing, right? Like if I set out to do X, I'll be I'll be satisfied if I get X times X divided by 2, right? That makes sense. But if I shoot for the stars and land on the moon, that's insane. That never happens. Yeah. Yeah. I remember they were talking about making an LUA for RuneScape, and some guy was trying to explain to me like how it worked. And I think I must have been doing a really good job of pretending that I understood it and was interested and cared, because he kept telling me about it, and I was like, oh cool, I have no idea what you just said. He'd be like, oh, that's okay, here's more. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I have no idea what you just said. I think you're a very kind and polite person, and I would like to not be enemies with you. But I don't. But he kept going. So yeah, I guess this would be like a gatehouse inside. It doesn't actually have to match the original. I'm trying to make it match this, because even my wife's looked at it and said, "Oh, that looks cool. That looks like a castle." And I'm like, "Oh shit! I drew something that looks like a castle," which is a surprise. I think I might be catching a cold. My son's got one. I can feel it. I don't feel sick yet, but I can just feel a cold coming. Just a slightly extra bit of mucus. So this looks weird. So instead of... I just kind of drew these to fill in the space. But actually, maybe they don't need to be quite so... And they ought to be like significantly taller than these ones. Except maybe not. I just felt like they should be significantly taller than those ones, because otherwise, because they were here. But maybe they don't need to be, and actually maybe these can just be smaller. So, random shit. Yeah, you can just suggest it to do something, and it will do it. You don't need to be like, you don't need to worry too much. But then I think that's where the limitations come in. I was talking about like people making like Unreal games. It's like, I remember like, yeah, I was talking to this guy, and he was, it's a really cool game that he's making. Like, I think, I wish him the best and everything, but like, he sort of was adding all these mechanics to his game because he was like a kid in a candy shop, looking at all the things that Unreal has. Why is that not? Yeah, that should be like that. And because a mechanic was available as like a download that he could buy for like £8, and I guess he was moneyed up at the time. He was like £8, sure. He was just adding these mechanics to his game without thinking about it, like without putting very much thought. Like, oh yeah, let's have item degradation, and let's have this, that, the other, because it's there. Why not? Why would I not have a mechanic that enriches my game? And just never stopping to think about it, and never being like, hold on, why would I want this in my game? And I think that's happening a lot with a lot of these kind of survival slops. Yeah, so people make and sell assets to use there. So yeah, I have heard of that. I kind of know my shit when it comes to video games, believe it or not. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've never used an alleyway, so I can't really comment. And yeah, Valplume, welcome. Thanks for joining again. Yeah, Leo. It turns out I think Leo is a real person. I think they're operating on levels of intelligence that we can't really fathom. Because they're a Roblox dev, so they're obviously like straight away 10 times smarter than me. But also, I think what we just oh right, yeah, no, get back into character. But no, I think just someone who's operating on a higher level, and just sometimes it sounds like they're spitting out like random bits of code, but actually they're just saying really intelligent things that we don't understand. That's what's happening there, I think. Because if I was smart, I would be making Roblox content. I would have, because that's the other thing. It's like, no, it's not even just the money. It's like actually having an audience, and especially for me, like someone who likes to make, who likes to make games that worry more about mechanics than graphics and audio and stuff. Like you'd think Roblox would be a perfect environment for me, and I could make a really good Roblox game. And get recognition and make a crap ton of money, and then I could use that to fund my crazy Unity development, right? Like that's smart. That's doing things in the right order. That's unlocking the XP. That's playing a game, and the first upgrade you pick is XP rate. You know, the first, I picked HP. I was just like, I just more of the thing that stops me from dying. So when I leveled up, I picked HP, but smart people picked intelligence, which increased their rate of it depends what game you're playing, but it maybe increased the amount of skills you can learn. If we're talking Fallout. Okay, we got some beef in the chat. It seems. So I think we've established that Leo is not a clanker. They just wanted us to think they were a clanker for reasons that us Neanderthals will never understand. Okay, so is that going to do that? I mean, what if we just like, hey, this isn't here. Don't worry about it. The wall actually goes backwards at this point. We're looking at a cube from close up, so we're actually seeing that, and the back faces of it go inwards as far as we're concerned. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved in this beef. I'll leave you guys to deal with it. Okay, so right now, main tower, which in this one is about here. So are we just drawing the same thing again? I think we are. I think that's what's happening right now. We're just drawing the same thing again. Is that a tower? Yeah, that's a tower. So then we need another one of these, basically. Or like a larger one. Except... yeah, does that actually look good? I'm questioning because I don't think this actually exists. Because the thing is that would get covered in rain. So you would never see it. So again, looking at my examples, it doesn't actually come up, and even when it does, the roof kind of pops out over it. You've got this, which isn't covered by rain. But then if this is just a spiral staircase, that doesn't really matter, as long as it doesn't go into bedrooms. But yeah, here we go. Here's like a big open one. And again, just because someone's drawn it doesn't mean that it's okay. Like, so yeah, here we kind of have it. We've got like a bit of a outer walkway which kind of hangs over, so you can imagine that if it was leaking rain, then it wouldn't matter because it's just going to go down the side of the building. I don't know what game this is. Army of Survivors. I don't know if you're getting your chats mixed up. So like, what if like and again, the answer isn't always going to be to copy what's in the smaller version, but maybe to improve it. So like, what if that was like a step removed? Excuse me. So actually, the tower, like the pointy bit, the rain protection, would come slightly over. And that actually kind of has like a cool look to it, I think. Let's see where we end up with this. And then yeah, this would come down a bit, I guess at the same rate as this. So we just basically copy this. This is further back, but then, okay, so this would have like a sharper incline. Like that already looks a lot better. Even this, actually. Except then it's lost its... oh, what have I done? What even happen there? I don't know. So many references. I have to say, blue fire does tend to be stronger. Blue fire is how you show that like this fire is not messing around. Like fire is supposed to be red, so if there's blue fire, it's like it's got to be for a good reason. That's how. Really, it depends on the fuel you're using, but okay. So then this would be our like ramparts. Let's just go ahead and put this in faction blue. And we might want to bring it down a bit. Very phallic. I'm okay with it being phallic. Phallic shapes make sense. Like, there's a reason the phallic shape is a good shape. It's like, it's got a strong base, it's got like storage for ammunition, and it's got the bit where it shoots out of. It's easy to understand, and you know where you are. I think phallic shapes are not to be avoided. Okay, so there's our flag, which, although is technically the same color, a dyed flag would not actually be the same color as a bit of building, would it? So we're going to need our off. I think we do have our off. So like, would this then be, or would it just be, is it just a matter of shading? and maybe shading on both sides. And do we need some like tiles, a tile shape to it? Wait, so your competition meaning like other? Oh, cheers, Farplum. Thanks for joining. You mean your competition like other developers, or you mean like other players? I mean, I'm 40, so I'm probably like quadruple your age, and I guess you're looking at yeah, people who I mean that like that like I'm with you on that. Like I'm not offended or anything. It's like yeah, if you're like half the age of the people you're competing with, like you've got 40-year-olds trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna make the next Roblox game, and you're just there like outpacing them, making more money than them, reaching a wider audience than them. And I'm guessing you're like, I'm not going to guess your age, but I'm guessing you're quite young. Just wild guess. I'm guessing you're like in your teens, early teens. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm being a bit rude here. I don't know. But I'm guessing you're quite young. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I do just stick to what I know. Like, I'm not going to go into Roblox because it's like, look, I've kind of missed that party already. Like, I'm not. By the time I get to grips with Roblox, we will be on to the next thing. So I do say, like, stick to what you know. Does this look good? I think it does. I think it adds detail. I think it looks nice, and it lets you know that these are indeed tiles. And I think that's just enough. And we don't want to shade the bottom half because that would be incorrect. And then what goes between there then? So let's draw this. And let's get the color. And let's start shading as well, because I think that's important. Because I think this we are actually there with this. Like this is what we're looking at. I don't know then, like, do we have enough detail for bricks? Or is that just going to look silly? Right? I don't think we should do bricks. Because there'd have to be too many for it to make sense. And it won't look good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that cheesy guy who's like if I'm talking to my kid and my kid is like, no, I want to be a guitarist, I want to be a musician, I want to be a footballer, he wants to be an astronaut, and it's like, I'm not going to say, hey, do something that makes money first, or like do something that makes more sense first. Like, people will just do what they love, you know? I have to start from an earlier bit. So yeah, for me, telling me to start doing Roblox, like yeah, and the thing is, you have to do what you love, otherwise it's cringe. That's the main thing, right? People can tell. People can tell you're just there because it's the trend. I think people can tell that. So if I went into like, but then does anyone really care? Like, I think other people have just like gone into Roblox, even at a late stage of their career, and just been like, holy shit, this is way better. Why didn't I do this sooner? And that's the story. And that's it, and there's not much more to it than that. As much as we'd like to cope and say, no, they're not really happy. It's not really working out for them. No, it is. It is just plainly working out really well for these steps, and I'm just stupid for not doing it. But again, yeah, you kind of do what feels natural, and yeah, some people will see it as vintage. I think, like if you really are too late to the party of like reinventing yourself, I think people do tend to just see it as like vintage, and it's like people respect it when they see it. Like even if we went to like fully synthetic farming and everything, we can make like synthetic beef. There'd still be a market for like actual beef, for like actual raised beef. I think if nothing else, but people enjoy the fact that something died to make the food that they wanted. Okay, I guess we could have more of these exact windows. And then what goes in that gap? I need to go back to my references. What would go in that gap? There's one that's done it a similar way. So those would just be like pillars. So we need to do the back. So we need a black line to be the back of this, which I guess would start from about here. Go like that. And then we get our dark color. Oh, fill that in and have a go at doing the lines, which I guess would be something like this. Yeah, that'll do. And then maybe this ought to be like a bit lower. Because if we imagine that, how big is a human? Probably about that big. So this would appear to be like absurdly high. So if we just grab this and then move it down one. And then all we kind of really need to do is do these like nice big like, and then it's just this like mush of black where you can kind of imagine that there's some kind of pillar structure there. I mean, I don't know what the use of this is. Especially if it's so wide, like this would just be some like big empty rooftop. Right? Why would you need to shoot from here? What are you shooting at? I guess maybe you're shooting at the people on these bits, but I think that distance would be too big. This is kind of lost sense. But again, like as far as like the general shape goes, I think it's fine. And then we had these two turrets on the side, and I would like to have a flapping flag for this version of it, because I think that looks fun. And again, where you can't draw well, animate instead. I think it's a good philosophy to go by. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, if you do what you love, you'll, and if you do it for love of the game and you stay true to yourself, you know, then you'll make good stuff, and people like good stuff. People actually like. It's not hard. People want to play a game that was made by someone who was passionate about what they were doing. Like it's not rocket science. Okay, so I think these little side towers. So maybe this ought to be higher. I don't know. Like, so these little side towers. I think I'm getting to the point where I just need to see it in the scene. So yeah, these are slightly taller than they are wide. Let's go with that shape. So this is 2 pixels for every step on the ladder. And it's gonna start, and it kind of come in this one. It's like next to it, but what if we said there was like a gap of 1? And where would they live? I mean, maybe this central one needs to be thinner. Oh well, thanks for joining. Yeah, you don't. I could see why maybe you're rambling a bit if it's 3 a.m. But yeah, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the chats. I like having people chat. It's fun. So yeah, should this be like 1, 2? Just trying not to like thin it up too much so that we can keep what we've done so far. Just go 1, 2. And then we've got more space. Should we use the full... Let's use the full height of the image. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, Leo. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to know that you're not a bot. Okay, so yeah, these feel like... Okay, so then if we were to replicate those... I mean, you could just say that's a castle, but yeah, I think those are the 2 towers. So we have a little bit of a line. Then we just have like 1 pixel hanging over. We do like a nice tall tower. But try and get it to be symmetrical. And that's starting below somewhere. And yeah, just 1 pixel of rounding. And I'm going to want to take that. It's going to be easier to just paste that over, and then... I mean, I should do that after I finished it, right? And then we'll take this color. But then maybe we'll take this color and we'll have it shaded. Like that. And with a similar kind of tile vibe. And then somehow, yeah, just do like 1 there. There, 1 there, and 1 here, and 1 here. We should probably have 1 like that, like that. And then this also has a little flag. Actually, this would be the wider shadow. Don't know why I did it like that. Shadows aren't matching. Everyone's disappeared. Well, that was fun having. We get to like 6 peak, like quite a few peak concurrents at the same time. That was fun while it lasted. I mean, I don't expect to get anyone watching these really. One of the main reasons I'm doing it is to just have it recorded, because I don't have the disk space to store everything. But YouTube thankfully keeps it all for me. So if I ever need to go back and check something, or if like, so yeah, eventually I will make like a nice video of like here's the entire game from start to finish being made. And I think that would make for a fun YouTube. Is that gonna... No, good. Okay, so that needs to be 2 pixels away. Same height. I think I might have let it get... Oh, damn it. Might have let it get a pixel lower there. Okay. And then these had little windows too, but we don't need to see all of them. So if they just had like... There we are, we have that. Say about there. Which is kind of awkward, I think. Doesn't look great, but it's just kind of like... And then in this little spot here, we will want just like the back wall. So I don't know what that looks like exactly, but maybe it is literally just that. Just like a little grey box. Just to kind of imagine a bit more filling out of space with... Maybe just... And there we have a castle. I don't love it. I don't love it. And the flag of this country is just blue. You can tell they haven't encountered many other countries. What's your flag? Blue. What do you mean, what's my flag? Here's some dye we made out of berries. And we dyed everything this colour because we had loads to spare. That's basically like woad. That's ancient English, like... Or stuff. Braveheart and such. Well, it's almost 11:45, so I think I've had fun doing this because I completely lost track of time. But I guess before I go, I would just like to do one thing, and that is to see this in the scene. So we need to save this. Good thing it didn't crash. Yeah. This is, should we do the whole flag debate? Like how some flags are fire hazards and make people feel unincluded and need to be removed, and other flags are like perfectly okay. Even though they're made out of the same material, they're not a fire hazard and don't need to be taken down by the council. And even though they do make people feel unsafe, it's the right people that they're making feel unsafe. Okay, so we are looking at map. No, we're looking at bases. So do we have one for bases? We'll have to probably so bases, and we'll subdivide it by, because yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make a sprite sheet. Actually, I should probably make a sprite sheet. So yeah, let's call this human. Let's call this Ironwell buildings. And we'll put them on the same sprite sheet. Yeah, I know. My wife just reminding me that gonna have to go and get my kid in a little bit. I say have to. I'd like to get my kid in a little bit. I don't want to leave him at nursery forever. Preschool. But it is something that I have to do. What is WPS? I hate WPS. I had to get it for some like course I was doing because they were like, oh, you don't have Microsoft get this instead, it works. And it's just everywhere in my computer now, and it's constantly trying to get me to give them money. And I'm not giving them any money. If I'm going to give someone money for a software, it's going to be for Word software and stuff. It's going to be Microsoft. Like, I chose you because you're free. Stop trying to charge me. It's like some slag who's really easy and gives it up for free. It's like, hey, do you want to like pay for dinner for me? It's like, no. The whole reason I'm with you is because it's easy. It's because you're a slag. I'm not gonna like do any of that shit that's for the other things, you know. that's probably really bad, but yeah. Okay, basis ironwork building save. Now export in the same spot. Oh, we just did that. Okay, and we've saved it too. Good. Good. I'm glad you found that funny. Some people could think it's quite rude, but I just think that it just seems like that. Like the thing, like it's like, look, I'm here because it's free. Stop trying to like, you know, stop trying to act like you're like some good supplier of stuff that people will spend money on. It's like the Metro saying, "Do you want to buy a subscription?" You know that magazine. There's a fly on the screen, and when I move my mouse to it, it does actually move. Sorry. Right, so the last thing I want to do is we've got building, which is castle, and so first we need to put the sprite in. So sprites, bases, ironwell buildings, my preset, apply, sprite editor, put it in the bottom. And then this is Ironwell buildings, and it looks weird, doesn't it? I think the camera tilt. It needs to match the camera tilt. Or maybe not. So if the rotation of the camera is 0, it looks fine. And maybe that is where the camera should be. I felt like looking down a little bit sort of made sense. Maybe even looking up a little bit. Maybe even looking up a little bit. I think this is the time where I kind of figure out exactly what I want with each of these things. And then so if we're looking up 10 and the building is rotated -10 to match, we're gonna have to like min-max these until they're perfect, basically. And we can't really do that until we've got like things to work with. So I will have to put in a floor, whatever the background is. But this is a good start, I think. And if that's what the building ends up looking like, I need to make the doors nicer. But if we compare that to like this. Oh, this is showing all my windows. I'm not sure I wanted that. I don't think I had anything weird, but probably rather not accidentally show all the windows that I have. So, like, it's the same picture. But obviously this is from a lower perspective. It's much more detailed. The level of detail that we can't have at that resolution. This is for the map. And it is like we are looking down at it from an angle. Whereas this is the building that we're sort of standing in front of. And it works for that. Even though we can see inside there, we are kind of about here, looking down a little bit. So if we're looking up at that, I think it looks weird. So I think the camera would want to be actually a little bit like that. Because we're still like a lord making these decisions. Like, if anything, our POV is the castle, if that makes sense. So then the castle would be either at 0 or it would be at 10. In which case, like, it looks straight. but we'd still get that little bit of a sense of perspective. Or it should be flat because we're getting that perspective. And then what does it look like? What does it feel like moving the camera around? Bit of parallaxing. I mean, that's definitely a castle. And I think in the scene we can kind of move a little bit, but let's say we started at like 5, not 6, 5. That's a kind of good spot, I think. I think that looks nice. And so this is our scene. And I think that looks good. And the castle is where you view achievements. Like I don't think you'll be able to upgrade the castle. And then it would be like the barracks, which is where you upgrade your unit. So if you click on the castle, you just see achievements for that faction. And kind of like general, like that's your hub, you know. Yeah, it looks enough like a castle. I mean, we can revisit it, but I think the next thing is to start on the other buildings. I would like to do this door quickly before I go. So yeah, I'll be back at. Actually, I should go now because my computer clock is slow. Anyway, I'll be back. Actually, I think I might not be back at 1 today, but I'll post it online. Like I'll schedule the stream if I will be back. So keep an eye out for that. And if not, then have a great weekend and see you next week. Cheers. Bye.